afternoon, welcome to Football Italia. Well, here we are up north this week in Milan, outside the San Siro with Brackley and everything in hand, because it's been absolutely tipping it down all day. But never mind, we have coming up a match, I think you'll agree, of some considerable pedigree. Milan against Sampdoria, and what should be a very nail-biting afternoon for you Milan fans out there, because your boys are hosting Sampdoria, a team that's certainly hit form in the last couple of weeks, something which we can't say of Milan. They currently lie down in 8th place in the Championship, a situation unthinkable really until recently. For this, the team that's dominated European football in the 90s. Milan say they're ready to rise again, and that may well be. We'll see shortly enough. But as Kenneth Wolstenholme now explains, they can't really afford to wait any longer for their wake-up call.
5 months ago, they were the best team in the world. Champions of Italy for the 3rd consecutive year, and European champions for the 3rd time in 5 years. But today, the Milan machine looks in real need of repair. Last season, Fabio Capello's side were beaten on just 5 occasions. 2 months into the current campaign, and they've lost the same number in just 13 games. Although the Milan coach has faced terrible injury and suspension problems, it's the nature of Milan's defeats that will be most worrying for Fabio Capello. A shock home defeat in the Coppa Italia against the 2nd Division Sicilian club Palermo ranks
for a player to score goals. Hullet is a player who's an inspirational character. He's a player that leads the line, creates chances for other players. But
to come. In the Champions League, the European Cup holders were completely overrun by Ajax in Amsterdam and were lucky to escape with just a 2-goal defeat. That shock was followed by another, this time in the league at Little Cremonese. And over the past couple of weeks, the bad patch has become a crisis. In the Coppa Italia, Inter came from a goal down to record their first victory in 11 Milan derbies. And 7 days ago, the biggest shock of all, as Serie A's bottom club, Padova, savoured their first win of the season. Who would have guessed it would come against Milan? If all that wasn't enough, Milan had also been docked 2 points in the Champions League following the bottle-throwing incident in their home win against Salzburg. Although in midweek Capello's men did regroup and hold out for a draw in Athens, it was again a far from convincing performance. Today things could well get worse. Sampdoria were the last team to hold Lo Scudetto before Milan's domination of recent years, and after last week's impressive comeback at home to Parma, they look dangerous enough to extend Milan's misery. No one will blame Samp if they lose. Despite recent events, Milan are still Milan. But for the champions, another defeat would spell disaster, and this afternoon is a real case of make or break.
Right, thank you, Ken. Joe Jordan here with us. Welcome to you, Joe, a veteran, of course, of the Milan sides of the 80s. What do you reckon? Are your ex-teammates in crisis?
I think by Milan standards in recent years, they're very much in crisis, both at home and in Europe. I think that the positions is difficult, but I think they have the players with the experience and the character to get through it. And they've got no better test than they have to against Sampdoria, who are a team that's going to be challenging for the championship this season.
Well, the big arrival, of course, of Milan this summer was Ruud Gullit, and really, with the problems they've got up front, it's up to him, I think, the responsibility today to create the game.
Yes, well, Gullit is a player that's done exceptionally well here before his departure to Sampdoria. He done well there and he's come back. But I think Milan are looking for a player to score goals. Gullit is a player who's an inspirational character. He's a player that leads the line, creates chances for other players, but for me he's not a Papan, he's not a Van Basten. He is a player that creates opportunities, that leads players. I think Milan are looking for a player as well who's going to score the goals and share the workload with Gullit.
Of course, well, Gullit played a big role in the last time we saw Milan against Lazio. Of course, he'll be playing against his old Sampdoria teammates, including Roberto Mancini. Here's Ken now with more details on that interesting clash today.
1 year ago, Roberto Mancini and Ruud Gullit were teammates, combining to bring about Milan's first league defeat of the season. Today, Gullit is back with the champions, and 2 of the game's legends are back in direct competition. Last season, Gullit left Mancini in the shade as the Samp coach Sven-Göran Eriksson gave the Dutchman the freedom of the pitch, leaving Mancini to play a supporting role up front. Gullit's return to Milan saw Mancini return to his favourite position, And last week against Parma, the Samp captain was back, promptly delivering his 100th Serie A goal for the club.
This is Mancini! There's no substitute for class, Peter. We've had a bit of a pop at him this afternoon. He really hasn't performed to the sort of standards we know Mancini, but there is no substitute for class. And the way he beat Bucci there was just fantastic.
This afternoon, Mancini will be looking to prove a point to himself, to his coach, and to Ruud Gullit. On the other side, the Dutch superstar's early form was the saving grace of the champions' lacklustre start to the season. His first goal, back in Milan colours, came, ironically enough, against Sampdoria in the Italian Super Cup. And he followed that up with 3 league goals in the first 3 weeks of the campaign. However, the last of those strikes came a month ago, and since then, Gullit has had a barren time of it. As we've seen, so have Milan. Given Milan's current state of crisis, the last thing the Dutch master will want is to be upstaged by his former teammate this afternoon. So expect a battle royal between 2 of Calcio's greatest stars.
Welcome back to the San Siro. Well, here we are, ready for our game. Well, I'm here anyway. I think Joe's going to be with us in a minute or two for our game Milan against Sampdoria. It certainly looks a cracker. And I was reading an interesting article, at least I thought so, in the papers this morning. They were pointing out that Samp have scored 6 goals in the last 2 games, a rich vein of form, but all 6 of those goals have come from people whose names begin with the letter M. Mancini, Maspero, Mihalovic, and Meli too. Extraordinary. Do you think a coincidence, Joe Jordan, or what?
Well, they're all M's, but the thing is Milan going to score today, or more importantly, is it maybe Massaro, you know?
Massaro too, yeah. The man, of course, whose goals really won them the championship, I think it's fair to say, last year. He was nicknamed Providence by the Milan fans for his knack of coming in with the important goal in those 1-0 encounters. He hasn't managed to do that so far this year.
No, along with other players at Milan, he's been restricted through appearances with injuries. He's had 1 or 2 games now, and I think he's coming back to the form that he showed last year. He was a very important figure for Milan last year, and they do certainly need his goals.
As they do indeed. The form of the defence last year rated the best in Europe. This year, not the same thing at all.
No, I think last year, if you look at the results and the championship in general, they relied an awful lot on the defence. I think defence with Milan were fantastic, but I think the strains begin to tell on them a little bit. You know, most of these players haven't had much of a rest during the summer. And I think once you're relying on your defence continually and you're not scoring the goals up front, that becomes a strain. And when you can see the goal and you know that you're not getting the goals at the other end, it's a telling factor. And I think that's what's happened to Milan so far this season. I think it's the accumulation of little things, but basically I think they're not getting that important goal up front. They haven't got an out-and-out goal scorer like they did when they had a Van Basten, a Papan. And maybe the emergence of Massaro and a fit Massaro and Massaro of the form of last year is what they need. They certainly need a player of his quality and his goal ratio as he showed last year.
OK, well, you talked about your old team enough, I think. Now, quick word on Sampdoria. Last week we saw them get back into the title race with a 3-1 win over Parma. Do you see them coming away with an away win today?
Well, I looked at Sampdoria 2 or 3 weeks ago, and in that particular performance, I've seen them without Gullit, obviously, has come to Milan, and Mancini. I think there's a great responsibility on Mancini. He's a player who's very temperamental, but he's a class act. He's a player that on his day can change a game with a pass, change a game with a goal. He's one of the top goal scorers in the country, and I think he's a player that has got to show that he is the father figure now. Gullit has disappeared, and he's the player who has got to handle that responsibility. OK, well, a lot of weight on Mancini's shoulders then this afternoon. Let's see how he and the rest of the other 22 players get on this afternoon as Milan take on Sampdoria with our commentators Peter Brackley and Liam Brady.
Thank you, James. Good afternoon, everyone. And after the excitement of last week's excellent win over Parma, another chance then today for Sampdoria to emphasise the strength of their renewed challenge. They're taking on Milan at a vulnerable time, faltering in Europe, far from consistent on the domestic front. Fabio Capello's team are under scrutiny now from doubting observers, wondering if they still have that unquestionable desire to win that's brought them so much success in recent times. Well, even to a squad of Milan's strength in depth, injuries can be so destructive to a team's shape and organisation, and Capello has certainly had more than his fair share to contend with. But at least he has some of his key men available again, although Maldini is out with that facial injury, and Savicevic missing as well, along with Tassotti. Galli comes in at the back with Panucci, and Massaro starts up front. Ruud Gullit donning the number 4 shirt, the same as he wore for Sampdoria, of course. And it's a fixture he seems to relish. A regular scorer in recent matches then between the two clubs, whichever one he's played for. Well, David Platt, sadly, still on the injured list for Sampdoria then. Serena continues to replace him in this side. Maspero is in for Jugovic. And Mancini returns up front after missing the European win on Thursday through suspension. He'll play just behind Melli, the one outright striker. And Sampdoria have all the old guard on parade at the back. Zenga, Manini, Vierkevod and Ferry, all on the top side of 30. But high on experience and expertise, as Parma, of course, found to their cost a week ago. Sampdoria with an early score to settle then after their defeat by Milan in the Super Cup back in August. There's the referee today, Robert Anthony Boggi, born in New York, but now based in Salerno in southern Italy. It's an intriguing contest in the passion of the San Siro. And one Liam Brady alongside me here that may well answer some of the questions over Milan's current decline, if there is one, as people seem to be suggesting now.
Well, I think they're definitely stuttering, Peter, but their form at home's been good. They've played 3, won 3. They still look to be a very, very strong outfit, although Maldini's missing. Sampdoria are up against it to get anything here at the San Siro.
Sampdoria, the all-blue strip. And attacking the goal to our left, as Baresi clears for Milan. Baresi, who of course has now announced his retirement from international football, is still very much a part of the scene with Milan. At 34, his appetite for club football remains, although he no longer wishes to feature in the national team. After being such a hero, of course, in the World Cup final with his display against Brazil. Boban wearing 9 today then for Milan. Another player capable of springing the unexpected. This is Boban now, away from Serena. Gullit lurking in the middle, but no problem there for Walter Zenga. And the switch from Inter to Sampdoria doesn't seem to have affected his form in any way. He has been outstanding so far this season. This is Mancini. Vierkevod with the header, away then by Desai. And offside against Mancini, who, as I was saying, was suspended for the European game in midweek. Sampdoria on top form against Grasshopper, beating them by 3-0. Milan struggled in their Champions League game against AEK of Athens. Boban leaving the free kick for Albertini. Now Desai, who missed some of the early matches through injury. He's a vital player now for Milan in that holding role in midfield. Donadoni. Galli playing alongside Baresi in a reorganised back line for Milan. This is Donadoni now. Desai. On by Albertini, almost linking up then with Ruud Gullit. Gullit, who scored Milan's equaliser in the Super Cup back in August. And of course got the winner in this fixture, or at least in the fixture in Genoa last season for Sampdoria against Milan, that thrilling 3-2 win. To end a very lengthy spell of away success for Milan. Desai. On by Vierkevod. Mihailovic wearing 6. This is Mancini. Mihailovic again. Had a good match at midweek. Mihailovic against Grasshopper. Scored another of his stunning long-range goals. Good work though by Albertini to win it back for Milan. Now Massaro. Boban sprinting ahead of him. Now is that a foul then by Serena on Boban? He certainly thought it was. Not given though. Zenga nearly got himself into trouble then. Oh, well, that was risky.
Walter Zenga, he hasn't really coped with this back pass ruling, and I think it'll be a tactic today of Milan following things in and hoping that he makes a mistake.
Desai was so strong in midfield. Laid off then by Boban. Chipped in by Donadoni. Just too long though for Massaro, who's keeping Simone out of the side today. Massaro in fact was injured for the early matches of the campaign. Simone seems to have his fair share of problems in that direction as well. This is Lombardo now. Mancini, Lombardo again. And away by Costa Curta. Here's Hullet. Six glorious years, of course, with Milan in his first spell, Ruud Hullet. Here he is again now. So quickly confronted, though, by those blue-shirted defenders. Bjerkevold it was who brought it away. I know, Liam, how impressed you were with Bjerkevold last week against Parma.
Yes, it's amazing how he keeps going at the age of 35. He really was an inspiration to the Sampdoria team last week, and it'll be his job to stop Ruud Hullet today.
Mihailovic challenged by Panucci, who's slotting in on the right of the back line. He's a very versatile defender, Panucci. He's played sweeper for the under-21 team, the Italians. This is Mihailovic now. Donadoni, good anticipation by Mancini. He's got Lombardo away to his right. Had Melli through the middle. Desai, though, for Milan. Then to Massaro. Boban having to outmaneuver the referee. Galli to young Panucci. He's played the last two internationals now for the Italian team, Panucci, the senior side that is, and scored his first international goal in the win over Estonia. Off goes Melli. Did well last week for Parma, against Parma rather, his old club, Melli. That's a foul though on Baresi. Melli, who may have to plough something of a lone furrow today up front for Sampdoria. Here's Donadoni now. Checked up fairly though by Serena. Wearing David Platt's number 4 shirt. David hopefully back in the side fairly soon. Albertini looking to set Panucci away, and it's Bjerkevold who comes across to cover. He's had so many great battles with Milan down the years, Bjerkevold. Many of them, of course, with the great Marco van Basten. Still a long-term casualty for Milan. Donadoni. Boban had made the run into the middle and goes to Desai. Lombardo. The early ball in search of Melli. Easily cut out, though, by Baresi. Here's Costa Curta. A left-back role for him today, then, with Galli in the centre. Panucci, this is Galli, whose career has been so disrupted by injuries. It's a great shame. He's an outstanding defender. Not easy now, though, of course, for him to get in the side with Baresi and Costa Curta, the first choices. Here's Baresi now. Costa Curta. Filling in the left-back role, vacated today by Maldini, who did suffer that horrendous facial injury in Athens. There's Ferry, helped up then by Lombardo. On by Albertini, Boban. Now here's Hullet. Maspero, though, able to clear. Galli underneath this one. Given away then by Evani. Against his old club, of course, today. Now this is promising from Boban. Finds Hullet. Massaro coming in on the far side, and the flag is up for offside.
Well, I thought that was a surprising decision there from the linesman. I think Ferry just had him onside.
Yeah.
It was a good ball from Ruud Hullet. Just wonder how Hullet's feeling today, playing against his old teammates. He's certainly been a thorn in Milan's side when he was at Sampdoria, but I'm just wondering whether he feels the same way today. He's not started in the best. His first couple of touches have been poor for a player like him.
Well, he's scored 3 goals so far for Milan on his return this season in Serie A. But of course, he had that exhilarating campaign for Sampdoria. His tally of 15 was his best ever in Serie A. Well, that's Bonucci down injured. Yeah. Thankfully, from Milan's point of view, the attack came to nothing. On by Donadoni. This is Hullet now. Milan throw. It's Costa Curta. Hullet. Now Donadoni. Just kept in by Costa Curta. Donadoni with the cross. Hullet's header. Now Desai. Threaded on to Bonucci. Hullet's in the middle. Touch there from Boban. An ineffective one though. Mihailovic able to shepherd it out. 10 minutes gone. Most of the early attacking coming from Milan, as you'd expect. Sampdoria will hope to catch them on the break.
That's right, Peter. As you said, Melli's playing up front on his own, and he'll have Mancini dropping deep, and they'll be waiting to hit Milan with this counter punch.
Bonucci. Now Desai. Converted to a midfield player, of course, by Fabio Capello since his arrival in Milan from Marseille, where he was very much a back four player. Here's Desai now. There's so much strength in midfield. Good distribution too. Hullet then with the cross. Too long though for Massaro. But the resilience and determination of Desai was so much a feature in Milan's play last season. Certainly in the Champions Cup final when they totally outplayed Barcelona. Costa Curta. This is Massaro. Now Baresi. Donadoni. Desai on for Albertini. Always one of the first names on the team sheet for Milan, Albertini. As indeed he's been for Italy over the past couple of years when he's been fit. Boban now. Sampdoria just happy to pull back players behind the ball. Hope to soak up the pressure and then spring forward themselves on the counter-attack. Fruitless chase that for Donadoni, who had a couple of good chances in the week in Athens.
Well, Donadoni's a very important player for Milan. He's the one player in the side at the moment who can go past people, but perhaps with the results having gone against them in the last few weeks, they're all lacking in a little bit of confidence.
Well, I don't think this man is Sebastiano Rossi. He's been in splendid form this season. And of course, finally got his call-up, the goalkeeper for the Italian national squad from Arrigo Sacchi. For the match against Estonia, he was on the bench. Pagliuca was, of course, the first choice, but Rossi's form has been recognised at last. Desai. Bonucci. This is Albertini now, who's taken up a useful position here. Down by Massaro. No problem though for Walter Zenga.
It was a good cross to the back post from Albertini. And I just feel, Peter, that Massaro would have been better off heading that down to Gullit, or trying to find Gullit. He was never going to score from that distance with his head.
Referee allowing the advantage here, despite the foul. Good refereeing. Signor Boggi. Lombardo, though, has it back. Now Ivani, 16 years with Milan. Had a very good season, though, with Sampdoria last time around. This is Ivani now, caught it in possession. Ferry to tidy up at the back. Galli is Boban. Now Donadoni. As I was saying, he did have those two really good opportunities in the week, Donadoni, in Athens. He hasn't actually scored a league goal now for 18 months. For all his intelligent play. Away by Zenga, a little carelessly. But here's Vyakovod. Now Mihailovic. Mancini offside. Donadoni. Now Desai. On by Boban. Horiasfano as Vyakovod. Now Lombardo. Mihailovic taking the throw for Sampdoria. Melli, who was chasing there with Galli. Melli, who did look sharp last week against Parma. Just the one league goal so far. He has scored in other competitions. Towards Massaro, here's Vyakovod. Mihailovic, caught by Desai. Maspero. Played in by Belli. Whistle's gone though. Free kick to Sampdoria. Just hearing a shock scoreline at Parma. They're a goal down to Reggiana. Paulo Futre, the Portuguese international, has given Reggiana the lead there. Reggiana down in bottom place, of course. Parma are second. All the key scores from the other matches as we receive them. A round up at half-time, and of course after the final whistle here. Now, will we see one of those rattling free kicks from Mihailovic? Not this time. Well, I think he may have to take it again. Mihailovic, 3 goals this season. They've all come from long-range free kicks. It's very much his speciality, as he underlines so often from his days with Red Star Belgrade. Here's Mihailovic now. Same ploy. Bit hard to work that one out, Liam.
Yes, I think he's mishit 2 on the trot there. I think he was looking to get those on the goal, on target, but he's mishit them completely.
Lombardo's cross in. Mancini just getting the touch back then to Mihailovic. Now Ferry. The former Inter player, of course, so he's had some duels down the years with Milan. Ferry had 13 years with Inter, Milan's great rivals.
Yes, they certainly have some experience in that Sampdoria defence. So you have Ferry, you have Manini, he's in his 30s, and as we mentioned earlier on, Pietro Vercourt is 35.
Yes, the average age 33 of the back line, including Zenga as well. Now here's Melli, almost got it then. Vital interception was from Galli. Baresi complaining. Mancini, who knocked it in. They wanted offside there. Bit hard to see from that angle, Liam.
Well, we've said it time and time again here, they play a very dangerous game, Milan, and this season they've been caught out a few times.
It was kept in then by Baresi, or was it? No, the referee has brought play back. I think it's another corner. No, a goal kick, I would think, but Milan obviously felt they had possession there. So it was out of play, it was out of play. He's given a free kick. Desai just managing to find Panucci. Now Desai, Panucci again. Here's Baresi. It's the third time, of course, that Baresi has announced his international retirement. I don't think he'll change his mind this time, though. Unless his wife has some influence again. Apparently she did the first two times. Almost at the halfway point in the first half. Neither side really creating much of a chance so far. Mazzaro back for Panucci. Came back off the head of Ferri into the path of Albertini. Now Donadoni. Pulling at Mazzaro, waiting in the middle. Albertini again. Smoothly into the middle, and the header off the post from Mazzaro. Marvellous header, then angled down. Zengabi saved by the post. Bullet. Superbly weighted cross in from Albertini, and the header looked to be arrowing into the corner from Mazzaro. Liam?
Yes, when Milan have been getting into that position, the final ball hasn't been good up till now, but Albertini delivered it, and Daniel Mazzaro is so good at getting across the front of people, and it was a very good header.
Lombardo to hoist it away. Zenga looked to be in trouble again then. Here's Boban with Albertini. Mazzaro, Boban. Now Donadoni. Shot spins away. It's a corner to Milan.
Yes, as I was saying here, he's so good at getting across the front of people, Daniel Mazzaro. It's a great downward header, kept it low, and Zenga was well beaten, and he was pleased to see that come back off the post.
Donadoni will take the corner. Vierkavon, who was beaten to the ball by Mazzaro. Vierkavon's header. Desai, now then for Boban. The first real opportunity of the game so far, and so nearly a goal for Mazzaro. Boban, who's forced the corner here. Mazzaro hasn't scored in Serie A so far this season. Well, of course, he hasn't played that often because of injuries. 11 in the last campaign, his best tally in Serie A. He really was outstanding in the championship team. Donadoni will take the corner here. Sampdoria with everybody back defending. Here's Baresi. Albertini. Now Donadoni. Caught by Mancini. Free kick to Milan. Maybe a yellow card too for Mancini, the captain of Sampdoria.
Well, I think that's a little bit harsh. As Donadoni's so good at that. He's dropping his left shoulder. He took it around Mancini. Here we have another look at Mazzaro's header. Really brave header. Well, I was just saying about Donadoni, he does that really well, and Mancini was a little bit naive, but I don't think he merited a yellow card.
I think it was just too good for him there. Well, here's Donadoni now with a free kick. Curled tantalisingly over. Sampdoria is so aware, of course, of the threat of Hullet in the air. Now this time Baresi is adjudged the offender. A decision of which he does not approve.
Well, you can see quite clearly that Albertini gave Melly short a tug there. And Baresi so forceful at trying to get to the referee. And
Galli at Baresi. Yes, it was not Baresi's tackle, I beg his pardon. It was certainly Albertini. Viacavot now. On for Mancini. Very nearly releasing Lombardo. Good vision shown then by Mancini. Viacavot now. A pile driver of a shot too that had Rossi scrambling across. Viacavot, who very nearly scored last week in the match against Parma. Not far away here.
Well, Pietro Vercourt is never frightened to have a dig from a distance, and I just thought that was going past the post, but Rossi didn't want to take any chances.
Mihailovic with the corner. Falls here for Lombardo. Now Ivani. He's found Mihailovic. Whipping over another dangerous cross, dealt with this time by Baresi.
That was great defending from Baresi. That was a good ball in from Mihailovic. Very dangerous. But Baresi got to the bounce of it and got it away. He was up very quickly on his feet, marshalling his defence, get him out the box. He does that so well.
Viacavot with a header on then by Lombardo. Here's Baresi. Costa Curta. Another very versatile defender, Costa Curta. Doesn't seem to be too much trouble for him, starting in at left back so far. Desai. Now Bonucci. Melli tackling with Galli. Donadoni. Looking to cause havoc down the left side now. Lovely piece of skill there by Donadoni. On a back cross either. Boban hitting it first time. It certainly came off Manini. I can't believe he's given a goal kick there. Doesn't disguise the fact that Boban mishit it.
Well, that's right, but it does make you wonder, you know, what the referees are doing here.
Say what you think, Liam.
Well, it was a good volley from, or it was a poor volley from Boban. He didn't quite catch it right, but it came off Vercourt, or one of the Sampdoria defenders, and the referee standing in front of him, and yet he doesn't see it.
Yes, it was Manini. It quite clearly hit him, but there you are.
Who'd be a referee?
Absolutely. Lombardo now. Nico anxious to say he wants to close him down then. Ivani, he's had no space at all in midfield so far. Hard work too from Albertini. Tremendous commitment from both teams. Desai now. Swept on to Massaro, who's come closest to a goal with his effort that hit the post. Donadoni, clattering tackle by Manini, who I think was going for the ball, but certainly made sure that Donadoni didn't make any more progress. Yellow card for Manini. Second yellow card of the game, both for Sampdoria players. Donadoni just had a little bit too much pace for him there. Donadoni. This is Baresi. Up goes Hullet. So no goals so far. Let's get the early thoughts of Joe Jordan. Joe, what have you made of it?
Well, I think, Peter, the first 15-20 minutes, I think both teams started a little bit cagily. And I think since then the game has opened out a little bit, with Milan having the majority of possession, with, as you would expect, Sampdoria very, very dangerous on the break. But one player that has caught the eye and looks to be the danger is Donadoni. I think every time he's got the ball, you can sense the danger, and he is the one that can create the chances.
Well, here's Bonucci going forward now. Thanks, Joe. We'll come back to you a bit later on. Melli. Just brushed aside then by Desai. Now Baresi elegantly forward, just too strong for Massaro. But again, we saw that abrasive challenge from Desai. I think he's surprised a lot of people with his contribution from midfield for Milan since his move from Marseille. He's certainly demonstrated he can play a bit as well. Massaro, the player down injured. Called up, of course, for the World Cup finals. Played indeed in the final itself, Massaro. But he has found a new lease of life, Massaro, over the past couple of years. He's always been a good player. But in recent times, he's looked an exceptional one. Now Baresi, his 18th year with Milan. Massaro up towards Hullet. Haven't seen too much of him so far. They've kept him pretty subdued. Lombardo, all too tight in there though. Desai to tidy it up. Now Baresi. Well read by Manini. Off goes Melli. He's got a pretty thankless task up front today on his own for the most part. Half an hour gone. Desai. Now Panucci, whose form has just dipped a little bit in recent weeks, but I think Capello wants to keep faith with him. Feels the best way for him to recover his best form is to keep him in the side. Young player of so much promise, Panucci. Only 21. Desai now. Baresi, who's at the other end of the scale. 34 now. Costa Curta. This is Donadoni. Lombardo again checking back with him, trying to curtail his influence. He's failed to do so. On then by Donadoni. Well, Costa Curta had provided the support. Donadoni couldn't provide the right pass.
That's right. Joe mentioned Donadoni there, and he is a player that can open up any defence, but I just feel today is that he's playing a little bit deep, and he's not really getting into the areas where he can hurt Sampdoria, and Sampdoria be quite pleased because everything is happening in front of them. Milan are not getting behind them at all. They've only really created one chance.
Desai on for Boban. Now Panucci. Here's Desai. Lombardo got his foot in there. Mancini. Boban's pass, finding Donadoni. Massaro. Look how hard Massaro is prepared to battle. Hullet, there's his strength and got away from Vierkevord. Ferry to the rescue. First time Hullet has threatened in any way so far. Panucci now. Baresi. Again, Milan facing this packed Sampdoria defence built around Vierkevord and Ferry. Albertini to chip it through. In goes Donadoni. Didn't quite get hold of that one though. Massaro's little knockdown. Donadoni with a rather tame finish.
I think, Peter, Milan are missing a naturally left-footed player down the left side. They have Costa Curta playing at full-back in place of the injured Maldini. And they've got Donadoni, who's not naturally left-footed. And they don't seem to be getting around that side of the Sampdoria defence at all. And, of course, we're not getting any crosses for Hullet or for Massaro. Everything's happening this side of the box. It's very, very difficult to score goals in those positions.
Yes, I was making the point earlier on about Costa Curta slotting in at left back. Of course, defensively, there's no problem, but they're about to miss the attacking flair of Maldini. Maldini, who'll be out for about 3 weeks now with that injury. Very nasty clash of heads in Athens in midweek. Milan throw, taken by Boban. Now Desai. Desai, who was sent off last week in the defeat by Padova. About 10 minutes before half-time when he was dismissed for 2 yellow cards. I gather they were rather harsh ones. Mihailovic, who's actually on loan from Roma to Sampdoria. Didn't really make much of a success with Roma. Hoping for better things with Sampdoria. Here's Albertini now. In for Hullet. Mihailovic with the tackle. Touched in then by Ivani. Boban has it back. Good work by Boban. Costa Curta. Now Baresi. Desai. This is Hullet. Outwitted though by Mihailovic. Now Mancini through the middle. Melli had dropped off this time. And Sampdoria winning the offside decision. Sven-Göran Eriksson, the Sampdoria coach, down on the bench there. Very satisfied with his team's display last week against Parma.
Well, he'd be satisfied so far today, Peter, in a defensive sense, but they've done very little to threaten the Milan defence. And, you know, I think there's chances here for Sampdoria if they were to take it a little bit more of a positive attitude.
One away win so far from Sampdoria this season. 2-0 success at Reggiana in the second week. Now what can they do here? Serena, he's got Mancini ahead of him. This is Mancini now. Melli was in the middle, only partially clear. Desai was there though to collect for Milan. Away then by Baresi. Now Donadoni. Wanting support. He's found it here with Massaro. All rather predictable though, and the momentum has certainly slowed down. Given away then by Desai. Maspero, who scored those 2 penalties last week in the win over Parma, getting his place in the starting lineup today with Jugovic out injured. And he had another sparkling game in Europe in the week too, Maspero, so maybe he would have started anyway. On then by Ferri, down by Mancini, Lombardo. Serena had continued his run on. Here's Mancini. No offside. Lombardo. Off Costa Curta. Sampdoria like 6th in Serie A. Same points tally as Milan, 2 places below them. Hullet. Lombardo's pass, releasing Serena, then Mancini away from Baresi. Melli, that's a foul on Panucci. Wasn't too far away from the cross, Melli. One supplied by Mancini. But then resorting to illegal tactics to bring down Panucci. His view is a little harsh. Certainly held him off though.
Yes, he just got his right hand across Panucci's chest there. Impeded him slightly. But good play from Mancini. Shielded the ball well from Baresi there. Lovely bit of skill. Good cross. You know, for all the play Milan have had, probably Sampdoria have looked the side more likely to score.
It's a foul by Ferri, is it? On Massaro. No, play on, says the referee. Two very experienced campaigners together. Two wily old foxes. Mancini now. Laid down by Melli, and he's laid down himself. Vyakovan. Here's Mihailovic. Off goes Maspero. And it was Galli who came across to cover. Filippo Galli. It's only his second start this season, Galli, but he's featured in most of the games. Now that looked to be a tug then by Ferry on Massaro. I think he'd every right to feel aggrieved then of a lad striker. The man whose goal won this fixture last season. Here's Maspero now. Crossed it towards Lombardo. And that's spun away off him.
He's had a quiet game so far, Lombardo. He's a very exciting player on his day. He hasn't really got going today. He's not running at people. I think the game is lacking a little bit of width, certainly from Milan. You know, they've got Boban and they've got Donadoni, but they're not causing any problems. That's all down the flanks.
Certainly missing Maldini. Orlando, of course, might have played there in recent weeks, but he's now being transferred. So not too many options open to Fabio Capello. Again, Lombardo coming back there to check the run of Donadoni. Obviously defensive duties for Lombardo today. Just containing the menace of Donadoni. And he'll leave the throw to Costa Curta. Again, Milan getting their wires crossed. They haven't been very convincing so far. Just that one moment to seriously trouble Walter Zenga when Massaro hit the post. Mihailovic now. Not a great deal you can say about that. 4 minutes of the first half remaining. Capello, no doubt, will have plenty to say at half-time. His efforts to raise his team. We've lost twice already in Serie A this season. By their standards, that's very unusual at this stage of the season. And they've scored only 5 goals. Conceded 5 as well. Well, it to Desai. Here's Donadoni. Now Desai again. Bonucci. Good movement from Massaro. Good anticipation, though, from Vyakovan. Albertini. Costa Curta has to fetch it. Here's Donadoni. Again, Lombardo back helping out his defence. Again, Milan caught offside. Boban this time, maybe Hullet as well. Sampdoria will be delighted at how little influence Ruud Gullit has had on this first half. Here's Ferry with the free kick. On by Boban. Vyakovan, though, was first to it. Nice dummy from the referee. In by Costa Curta. Ivani was in the way. Just kept in by Mancini. But no more than that. Mancini, who of course scored his 100th Serie A goal for Sampdoria last week in that win over Parma. Now level on 109 goals in Serie A overall, with Roberto Baggio among players still operating in the top flight in Italy. In fact, Baggio's Juventus have taken the lead in their match today. I'll tell you about that in a moment, as the shot comes in from Donadoni. Juventus a goal up away to Cremonese. And it's Gianluca Vialli, the old Sampdoria player, who has given his team that advantage. Juventus in 5th spot at the moment. 1 point better off than Sampdoria and Milan, and 3 less than Roma, the leaders. Roma who play tonight, the evening game in Italy against Cagliari. You can see highlights of that on Mezzanotte on Tuesday night. We're now into the final minute of the first half. Mihailovic rather ambitiously in search of Lombardo. It's all gone rather flatly.
That's right. Milan are obviously lacking a little bit in confidence. I think they need somebody who can go past people. It's not happening today. You know, Donadoni is not doing it in the right areas. They've nothing out on the right flank here. Panucci's doing a good job, but they've got nobody out wide to give the ball to. I wouldn't be surprised to see an introduction early on in the second half from Milan.
Yes, they've got Lentini on the bench, also Stropper.
Yeah.
So there are a couple of other options there.
Yeah, well, those two players can go past people, and it's just not happening. I feel a little bit sorry for Hullet and Massaro because they're not getting the kind of service they need.
Ivani almost into injury time now. Here's Panucci, turns straight back into Serena though, who's kept plugging away for Sampdoria. Serena, nothing too spectacular from him, but certainly covers a lot of ground. Boban, Albertini, clearance by Vierkovon. The crowd becoming frustrated now at Milan's efforts to break Sampdoria down. Always the danger they might just get caught on the break. Mancini now leading the charge. Got Lombardo in a lot of space over to his right. This is Maspero. Now Mihailovic. There's his cross. Baresi maybe caught it too wide. Then Rossi, I think, thought about coming for it, but then stayed on his line.
Well, just a second ago, I was about to give Mihailovic a bit of stick, Peter, because he has a really good left foot, but his passing and his crossing has been very poor. But that was a brilliant cross with the outside of his left foot and had the Milan defence in real trouble. And here he is again on the corner kick.
I think you should have criticised him after all.
Well, that's why I was going to give him some stick.
We'll do it now.
Well, we've seen him kick 2 free kicks. He's mishit them. His crossfield balls have been very, very poor, and like there's a complete waste of a corner kick. But amongst all that, he did put a good cross in that had Baresi in trouble.
Well, there's the half-time whistle, blown by referee Robert Anthony Boggi to bring proceedings to a halt for the first 45 minutes earlier. Let's hope it improves in the second half. Milan really didn't find their rhythm. Just that one moment to scare Sampdoria when Massaro headed the cross onto the post. Sampdoria haven't created too much at the other end either. At half-time in the San Siro, it's Milan 0, Sampdoria 0. We'll be back after the break.
Welcome back to the San Siro, where the scoreline here between Milan and Sampdoria is very much 0-0 here at half-time, and a minute or two then to race through the other scorelines around Serie A on this week 7 of the season. At Cremona, Juventus are leading 2-0. The goals coming there from Vialli, his second of the season, and Roberto Baggio. Fiorentina 1-1 with Padova at the moment. It was Valeri putting Padova in front, and then Di Mauro answering for Fiorentina. Foggia and Inter 0-0. Genoa and Lazio 0-0. Milan Sampdoria 0-0. Napoli, though, 1-0 up over Bari. Agostini, the scorer there. Napoli, of course, their first game under new coach Vujadin Boskov, who joined the club this Friday. Boskov, the man who took Sampdoria to the Scudetto a couple of years back. Parma are trailing 1-0 at home to Reggiana, a surprising scoreline there. Paulo Futre, the Portuguese international, putting Reggiana in front, and Torino Brescia 0-0, which leaves just one game to be played. That's coming tonight. Roma against Cagliari at the Stadio Olimpico, and a South American showdown to look forward to there as Balbo and Fonseca take on Cagliari's pairing of Deli Valdez and Oliveira. It's been a topsy-turvy season so far. Can Roma, though, hang on to their first place in Serie A? But you can find out with our highlights in Tuesday night's Mezzanotte. Good, something to look forward to there. Anyway, right now, some news of our competition. We've been running a goal of the month competition, of course, in the last few weeks, and time now to announce the winning goal. And it was goal number 7, Roberto Onorati of Genoa in the match against Reggiana. the winning entrant was Jeffrey Walker, I beg your pardon, of Selby, North Yorkshire. Terrible writing I have. Right, Jeffrey Walker of Selby, North Yorkshire. You win a holiday for 2 in Italy with a top-notch Serie A game thrown in. So well done for that, and condolences to anyone else who entered who didn't win, but rest assured there will be more chances to win big with Football Italia as our competition returns later on this month. And in fact, apropos of that, look at some entrants for the next goal of the month with the best goals of last Sunday.
Last Sunday was another good day for goals in the world's Premier League. In Genoa, Roberto Mancini crowned a fabulous comeback against Parma with Sampdoria's 3rd goal of the game and his 100th Serie A goal for the club. Gigi Casiraghi hasn't been scoring much at all in Serie A in the past few seasons, but he seems to have rediscovered his touch, scoring his 4th in 3 games last Sunday in Lazio's 5-1 rout of Napoli. One man who's been banging form recently is Fiorentina's Gabriel Batistuta. This penalty kept him a goal clear at the top of the scoring charts. However, Roma's Abel Balbo is chasing hard. He was on the mark again at Torino in last Sunday evening's game, helping Roma to a point which took them clear at the top. At Cagliari, another striker in form, Luis Oliveira, secured the points against Cremonese with the able assistance of his striking partner, Julio Deli Valdes. Comedy Award of the Week goes to Brescia keeper Marco Bellotta, whose terrible misjudgment of this up and under let Genoa's Thomas Scaravi in to score. But the goals of the week come from the most remarkable results of the week. At Inter, the Colombian Miguel Guerrero gave Bari a first-minute lead in the San Siro. Toglieri added a second, and Bari could hardly believe their luck. We could hardly believe their celebrations. Juventus could hardly believe what happened at Foggia. Bresciano's first half shot squirmed past Peruzzi, but the referee's ruling that the ball had crossed the line looked doubtful to say the least. But the goal stood, and another shock was on the way. But our choice of goal of the week comes from Franco Gabriele of Padova. Rock bottom until last week, the side from Italy's northeast produced the shock of the season so far, turning over the mighty Milan. And we'll be keeping up with Milan's progress this week after the break as we bring you the second half of their game with Sampdoria live.
Welcome back to our featured match from Serie A today. The second half, just this moment underway. Milan against Sampdoria. No goals in the first half. Very few opportunities either. It's Baresi now for Milan, who are attacking the goal to our left. Up towards Hullet, who had a quiet first 45 minutes. Much of the credit there, though, of course, to the defensive resilience of Sampdoria. Baresi again. Swept out by Maspero. This is Mancini linking with Belli. And Maspero. Well, he's got 3 goals in the last 2 games now, Maspero, albeit with 2 penalties, of course, last Sunday. But relishing his opportunity in the starting lineup. No test there, though, for Rossi. There's Baresi. In goes Desai with Serena. The run by Maspero. Melli in the middle. Serena, who wasn't a first choice at the start of the season, with David Platt playing and Jugovic as well. But now, because of injuries, getting a run in the side again. There is Serena. Now Melli. Who's back there defending? Massaro. Well, getting no change out of Vierkovon. This is Melli now. Back off Costa Curta. Mancini left a disappointing figure in the middle. Certainly the first half, for the most part, was pretty scrappy. Just that one moment to illuminate the proceedings. The header from Massaro that came back off a post. Maybe the sort of chance that was going in last season. So far, Milan's luck hasn't been good in this campaign, but nor has their form been either. Already they've suffered 5 defeats in all competitions. Baresi now on for Costa Curta. This unfamiliar role for him down the left side. Baresi being invited to bring it forward. Bonucci. Biancavon away. Then Serena stretching. Now Ivani. It's Ferry. Very cool defending too. Excellent footwork by Ferry. Donadoni. So quickly closed down though. Now Melli. Mancini inside him. Helped on then to Lombardo. In goes Serena. Ivani. Maspero with Lombardo. Ivani. Driven in by Mihailovic. Very aimlessly though. Still the game, Liam, lacking any shape really.
Yes, but one thing I've noticed in the second half is that Sampdoria are pushing a few bodies forward. Mancini's playing 10 or 20 yards more advanced than he did in the first half, and who knows, perhaps Eriksson has said, look, we can win this match here today because Milan look as if they're lacking a little bit in confidence and look very predictable.
On by Bonucci. Milan, remember, bidding for their 4th consecutive Scudetto. They're looking anything but a championship side at the moment. Starting this game 4 points behind the leaders, Roma. Although, of course, that may be quickly erased with 3 points for a win now in Italy. Manini. Dispossessed by Hullet. Manini injured. But Sampdoria in possession. Mihailovic. This is Maspero. Now Mancini. Ivani. Ferry with no option then but to hoist it forward. In goes Baresi. The referee allowing the advantage. But Sampdoria with a man injured. 2 really, because Manini's struggling as well, I think. Here's Massaro. Threaded on for Boban to chase. Manini, who doesn't seem to be too troubled after all by his knock a moment or so ago. Mihailovic on the burst now. Ran straight into Desai. Salzano and Rossi, 2 of the Sampdoria substitutes today. This is Mancini now, first time effort. And Rossi holding on well. Snapshot on the turn then by Mancini.
A surprising amount of space given to Mancini there by Baresi, and he had time to pull that down on his chest and get his shot away. But unfortunately it was straight at Rossi.
3 goals in his last 4 matches, Mancini. In Serie A, that is. Milan really do need to be more inventive in this second half. Bonucci up to Hullet. Lovely little ball inside then to Boban, but Benini first to react. Galli away, Desai, now Bonucci. Mihailovic trying to shake off Albertini. In goes Galli. Now Desai. Normally a simple pass from him, it is this time. Baresi on now. Donadoni into Desai. Now Massaro. Boban's open up a little bit of space with his forward run. This is Hullet now. The man with the numbers, maybe he's going to produce one for a substitution soon. We've also got Simone, of course, on the bench for Milan, and he's a player, Liam, that never seems to fail to live up to expectations when he does play.
Yes, he always seems to score vital, important goals, and he's also very good with his back to play. When the ball's played into him, he can make room to get himself a shot in, and that's something that Gullet's failed to do today. He really is having an off day.
I think Simone could be on fairly soon. It's a foul on Massaro. Trying to go between Serena and Manini. And here right on cue then is Simone. Marco Simone. Certainly one of the best finishers in the Italian game. It's Albertini who's gone off. 10 minutes into the second half. Simone, who is a proven goal scorer, but certainly has been held up by injuries in his career. Baresi now. Ferry getting above Hullet. Maspero to bring it away, helped out by Mihailovic. Maspero. This is Mihailovic on that cultured left foot. Stumble on his right as he's pushed over by Hullet.
Well, it's not a surprise that Simone's come on, but what is surprising is that Albertini has been substituted. I just wonder now what Milan are going to do. It'll probably be that Massaro drops back and takes up a midfield role.
On by Lombardo. It's safely through to Rossi, who hasn't had a great deal to do today. Rossi just 2 games short of his double century in Serie A. Desai. Well, he doesn't give the ball away too often, Desai, but failing there to link with Donadoni. No wonder Capello's sweating down on the bench. His team really haven't found their true form today. No cohesion so far. Massaro, who has indeed dropped deeper. On by Boban to Donadoni. Costa Curta. Closed down though by Lombardo. Costa Curta, a right-footed player. Certainly not happy switching onto his left for crosses. And that's where they're a bit lacking today, down this near side. Baresi it now. Hullet climbing. Can't reach. And nor can Panucci, arriving at the far post.
Yes, you've just mentioned it there, Peter. With Costa Curta playing at full-back, at left full-back, Milan lose a great deal with Maldini being out, because he really is a positive player. Goes down the line, tries to get to the back line, he can whip it in with his left foot. That option's not open to Costa Curta. He's so right-footed.
Now a mistake by Milan here that could get punished. Melli on for Mancini. No, Baresi to cover. Baresi storming forward now onto Desai's pass. Baresi looking to inspire now. Donadoni. There's Hullet down for Simone. Well, he's a real sniper around the penalty box, Marco Simone. A couple of goals in Serie A this season, 2 more in Europe as well. In fact, he got the 2 against Salzburg in that game that Eventually was taken away from Milan, the points anyway. The goals, though, will still count. Got two beauties. Here he is now. Offside against Hullet. Yeah, rightly so, though. Play on, says the referee, trying to keep the game flowing. Lombardo. Mancini. This is Galli. Mihailovic to Lombardo. This is Mancini. In by Serena. Mancini again. And there once more the anticipation, the awareness of Baresi.
Yes, I think the two veteran defenders have had very good games today. Verkerwood marshalling the Sampdoria defence, keeping Hullet quiet. And of course, you've got Baresi, who looks still very much a great player. And he really is trying to inspire his team today in what's been a lacklustre performance so far.
Forward by Ferry. This is Lombardo. Desai, though, in so decisively. Baresi now. Boban riding the tackle of Ivani, but not that of Vierkovot, who sends it tumbling. And that will be a caution, I'm sure, for the veteran defender.
Well, Pietro Verkerwood, he doesn't go many games without getting a caution, and if he's one of those defenders, Peter, if he doesn't get the ball, he gets the man. And just got his body in front of Boban there. Perhaps a little bit harsh. He hasn't really been making many fouls this game, Verkerwood. He hasn't had to, quite frankly.
Baresi with Galli. Galli with the cross in. Off goes Serena, making his 99th Serie A appearance today. Now Rossi's had to come a long way out, but no real chance of being outmaneuvered there by Mancini. Just hearing from one of the other matches today, Fiorentina have now gone 3-1 up against Padova, 2 second-half goals. Rui Costa, the Portuguese international, with the second goal, and the third from Carbone, who's actually on loan from Milan. It's now 4-1 up hearing. Batistuta's got another one, a penalty. So Fiorentina having a good day there against Padova, who of course beat Milan last week. One of the shocks of Serie A so far. Good movement here by Milan. Massaro, how well he was closed out though. That by Maspero. Desai. This is Baresi. Wide of him is Panucci. Again, Milan with a lot of possession, but so far unable to put it to good use. Ruud Gullit, whose contribution has been very disappointing so far. Milan with Stropper on the bench. Lettini too, remember, and having made one switch so far, with Simone replacing Albertini. Here's Desai. Now Panucci. Boban had to chase then, and Vierkovot had got with him. Such an example for those around him, Vierkovot. No shortage of commitment on his part. His appetite is as strong as ever. Vierkovot, of course, a championship winner with Roma back in the early 80s and with Sampdoria in the early 90s. This is Bandini now, another man with long service down the years for Sampdoria. Foul on Simone. Bandini, who has already been cautioned in this game. Massaro on for Gullit. Now Boban on the turn. Well, he spun superbly then, Boban. Couldn't quite keep his shot down. Conditions ever worsening now as the rain continues to fall so heavily. But things are getting better for Parma. They have equalised now against Reggiana. Reggiana the bottom side, Parma right up there at the top. And Dino Baggio, the former Juventus player, has made it 1-1. Parma 1, Reggiana 1. Maspero cheekily through the legs of Boban, and then impeded by Panucci.
There's good skill there by the young player, Maspero. He's obviously playing with a lot of confidence. When you see players who roll the ball through the opposition's legs like that, that's a good skill. You don't often see it.
Maspero, who's cut to Sampdoria from Cremonese. Rossi having to fist it away. Mihailovic again. Back into the danger area. Vierkabon, though, had straight offside. Rossi taking no chances there with a greasy ball, just fisting it clear to thwart the danger.
That was an excellent ball by Mihailovic. He's been a little bit inconsistent with his passing and his crossing today. But when he does deliver a good ball, it really is a good ball. Very difficult to deal with.
Simone now whipping over the cross towards Hullet. Again, his touch just deserting him there. Perhaps he couldn't believe the space he'd been allowed for once. Been so tightly marked, Ruud Hullet. Almost midway through the second half, still we await the first goal. And in truth, there have not been many openings created by either side. Disappointing match so far. Certainly in contrast to Milan-Lazio a few weeks ago, which was a storming game. And Sampdoria-Parma, particularly in the second half last week, was excellent fare as well. Must be you, Liam. You didn't do either of those games, did you? In goes Boban on Mihailovic.
You can tell Milan are lacking a little bit in confidence. You know, they haven't had the best European campaign so far. We're getting a few bad results in the league, and a lot of the players look hesitant. They're not doing things naturally, and Gullit, I think, showed on that occasion there when he received the ball on the edge of the box. He really didn't know what to do with it, and that's very unlike Ruud Hullet.
Here he is now, back for Boban. Panucci. Again, impatience creeping in among the Milan fans, expecting far more of their team than they've seen today. Far too early to write anybody off as championship material, or lack of it. But certainly Milan have not impressed so far this season. Maybe at last, as they say, the bubble has burst. Joe Jordan, what have you made of the second half?
Well, similar to the first half there, Peter. I think it's been a little bit disappointing, and I think you've got to be disappointed more than Milan and Sampdoria. They haven't really given us much at all. Being a home team, you're looking for something from them, but I think we've been without Maldini and Tassotti, who give us width from the full-back positions. And also, we see Boban on the ball here at the moment. Really, I think he's a player who should be taking up the responsibility, been playing a little bit more wide on the right. Donadoni's tried to give us it on the left, but there is no way there on the right to give us a natural width. And it is difficult for Milan to create chances. Gullit is having a poor day, but to be fair to him, they've not really had much to go on to. They've not really got to the byline, they've not really created many chances. And until really they get behind the Sampdoria defence, there's nothing going to be created.
And once again, that attack has come to nothing. Thanks, Joe. Mihailovic now. Well, they only had Mancini to aim at. Sampdoria, again, just happy to sit back and rely on their defensive strength in Vierkabon and Ferri and Manini. All very frustrating for Milan. Donadoni, who had one or two bright moments in the first half, but has rather disappeared in the second. Capello, the master tactician, well, he needs to come up with something now if Milan are to take a grip on this game. Salcedo, so often a substitute. It looks as if he's going to get another run out today. Can't remember when he last started a Serie A game, but it's Melli who is being replaced. Salcedo is also always busy, always fairly inventive. But he's not a striker, so they've taken one off to bring on another midfield player. Up by Vierkavard for Mihailovic. This is Donadoni. Bullet. Again, he's given it away though to Salcedo. Vierkavard here. Well, at least that's some determination shown by Hullet. Even if it was a foul in the end on Vierkavard, his old sparring partner.
Yeah, it's not from a lack of effort that Ruud Hullit's having a poor day, but it's just so obvious he's hesitant. He's not playing the way he does naturally.
Well, he's found Donadoni. Here's Simone. Just hasn't happened for Milan so far today. Might have been a different story if that header from Massaro had gone in. Certainly would have brought Sampdoria out a little more. 20 minutes left. Here's Desai. Magali. I think that was out of play then. Panucci, who's playing on the right side in place of Tassotti. And really, they shouldn't be missing too much down that right side. Panucci is certainly a good player going forward as well as defending. Of course, Costa Curta not used to playing on the left. Maldini's absence proving very significant. One of the world's top defenders, Maldini. And he can spark things off many attacks as well. Baresi now. Milan seeking some inspiration from somewhere. There's Massaro. Outwitted though by Lombardo. Donadoni. Donadoni again. There's a foul. Serena, the offender. Donadoni. Desai. Little Salcedo. Tigerishly snapping away at him. Donadoni. Good tackle though by Serena. And Stropper. Maybe he's going to be thrown into the fray soon. Donadoni. Couldn't shake off Lombardo though. And then another infringement. It's Costa Curta who brought him down. But sadly, it's been an untidy match today, and that really rather typifies it. So few decent moves strung together. Lombardo, who's so often a good influence for Sampdoria, but not really today. He's had defensive duties. Now, here's Giovanni Stropper, an Italian international. He's had 3 years away from Milan with his previous clubs, Lazio and Foggia. Lombardo able to continue. And it's Massaro being replaced by Stropper. Stropper, who started 4 matches in Serie A for Milan this season. maybe he might just give them a bit of width now. Rossi has hardly had a shot to save. Away by Ferry. And then Galli to tidy up at the back for Milan. Rossi's clearance was a poor one. Needs to retain his concentration now. It can't be easy. He's had so little to do. Almost lazily kicked that one away. As if to say, do I have to bother with this? Now here's Panucci. Dangerous ball in. Just too long though for Hullet. But at last some decent service from the flank. That was more like it. Panucci taking the throw quickly. Stropper announcing his arrival with a turning cross then. And had Zenga reaching and struggling.
Well, it lifts everything, doesn't it, when you start getting people around the back, and we've had two examples of there. A good cross from Panucci that Gullit just missed out on, and Stropper.
Donadoni with the corner. I think there was some pushing there, spotted by an observant referee. Well, there's the cross in from Stropper. It was curling away. Zenga made just upon his fingertips to it.
Yeah, he was a little bit fortunate there, Zenga. He came for that and he missed it. And if Milan had managed to have an extra player in the box behind Zenga, he would have had a simple header, a simple tap in into an empty net. But let's hope Stropper can give us this width and start getting in behind the Sampdoria defence, because it's so obvious that's the problem.
He has a quarter of an hour to make an impact. Boban on for little Simone, who's very towering over him. Here's Lombardo playing more as a right back at the moment. Mancini. Maspero on for Mihailovic. Salsano. Mihailovic. Baresi with the header out. Then swept away by Boban. Bjerkevon getting the better of Hullet. Costa Curta. The home crowd urging him forward, but he can't supply the right pass. Salzano. This is Desai for Milan. On for Hullet. Now Simone to Hullet again. Desai. Here's Panucci. Still short though. The idea is it will unhinge this very compact Sampdoria defence.
Yeah, you have to give credit to the Sampdoria team. They are closing Milan down very quickly and denying them space, denying them time on the ball. And Milan are having difficulty coping with that.
Costa Curta. There again. Manini it so well. Salsano. Here's Mancini. Elegantly into the path of Mihailovic. Mancini again. A little touch on then to Lombardo. Cross was just beyond Serena, who's not exactly the tallest player on the field. Hullet, Boban. Hullet resisting the tackle from Manini. Here's Donadoni now. Donadoni again. It's a good cross hit to Hullet, unable to finish it off. Anyway by Salsano. Costa Curta. This is Donadoni. Gets Stropper away to his left. He'll use it now. Costa Curta. Still Sampdoria proving so hard to break down. once again Milan have failed to find a way through.
Yeah, very ambitious shot by Simone, and I think that's an indication of how frustrated the Milan players have become with the lack of play, with the lack of openings created when you start shooting from that distance. It wasn't really an opportunity.
And once again, this season Milan are finding it so hard to score goals. Only 36, of course, in their last championship season. The lowest ever tally by a title-winning side in Serie A. But their tight defence was enough to guide them to the championship yet again. Don't think it will be this time, though. A lot of other teams with coveted eyes on that cherished Scudetto. Here's Galli now. Bonucci. Donadoni. Again, they're so well organised at the back, Sampdoria. And maybe with a little more punch themselves up front, they could have won this game.
Well, funny you said that, Peter, because I was going to say that the Sampdoria team doesn't look at all bad. I do feel they need somebody up front to help Mancini and to help Melli. I think losing Hullet, they haven't really replaced him. They've put Melli up there. But I think they need more strength in attack. And I think this Milan side needs more pace in the team. And who knows, maybe Berlusconi will get his checkbook out again. He's always been very forceful in the transfer market, and probably this season he's watched things closely. They've only brought Hullet back to the club, but perhaps he thinks it'll be time now to, when the transfer market opens up again, I think it opens up again for a few weeks, that they'll bring a new face in, or maybe two new in, to freshen things up.
Donadoni now. Of course, they do have Savicevic to come back in, but he doesn't seem to be fit too often these days. Here's Simone now. A player of undoubted talent. Desai. Milan really haven't functioned well as a unit today. But then that's been the case in many of their games this season so far. Galli now. People are saying maybe they don't have the appetite for it anymore, the older players in the side, but there's certainly some young ones around as well, the likes of Bonucci. And of course the players who are coming in, Stropper and co, who've certainly got a point to prove. Here's Donadoni now. Salone trying to flick it on. Lombardo. Sampdoria throw, to the dismay of Donadoni, and plenty for Capello to worry about too. Milan's grip on Italian football is certainly weakening. Boban now on for Hullet. What a fine tackle there by Verkovic.
Yeah, great defending again from Pietro Verkovic.
Simone. Here's Baresi forward now, in towards Hullet. And back off Boban into the grateful arms of Walter Zenga.
Well, I have to say, Peter, I don't think Milan are lacking appetite. I think they've worked very, very hard. They're just lacking a wee bit in confidence. And they need a bit of inspiration from somebody. And perhaps Savicevic coming back, or when Maldini comes back. There's not a lot wrong with this team, and I wouldn't be surprised to see them putting a winning streak together again very, very soon.
Donadoni. On then by Stropper for Simone. Milan will have to start again with Costa Curta. There's Galli. On then for Bonucci. Sampdoria have left just Mancini upfield, and here he is now. As once again Milan get themselves in a tangle. Lombardo away from Galli. Well inside the final 10 minutes now. Salcedo. Baresi still calling for urgency from those around him, hoping they can find something in the last few minutes to win this game. In truth, they haven't looked like losing it, certainly in the second half. But for all their possession, they haven't damaged Sampdoria too often. Now, what can Simone do here? Well policed again, though, by Manini, who's had another outstanding match for Sampdoria. This is Donadoni. Bullet waiting in the middle. Waiting in vain. Donadoni, who began brightly, but just hasn't had that spark to take him clear of defenders and supply the crosses. Easily won in the air by Desai. Maspero. Now Mancini to probe at Milan's defence. On for Salcedo. This is Mancini. No real angle then to aim at, though. As we move into the final 5 minutes. What has been a disappointing game. Invernizzi now to come on for Sampdoria. I think they've decided now to hold on to what they have. Boban. Linking with Costa Curta. This is Simone. The cross surely, though, was overhit. Serena. Mihailovic. That was sloppy play there by Mancini. So Invernizzi about to make his entrance. Coming on for Ivani. A former Milan player who hasn't done a great deal today. I can hardly recall saying his name in the second half, Ivani. But then Sampdoria have been mainly on the defensive.
Well, there's been a few players anonymous out there today, Peter. Having said that, perhaps the fact that they both played midweek in the European competitions, maybe they have that a little bit in their legs. And the conditions today are heavy. Both sets of players look pretty tired.
Well, there's the face of a very frustrated man, Ruud Gullit. Nothing too much has gone right for him today. A man who so often in the past has illuminated this fixture. But at last, Parma's day has turned in their favour. They now lead against Reggiana. Goal from Branca. Parma 2, Reggiana 1. So they look to have saved the game after all. Reggiana, remember, having gone ahead in that game through Paolo Futre. This is Stropper. That has to be a foul, surely. Baresi. Just a couple of minutes left now. And unless something extraordinary happens, I feel we are heading for a goalless draw. Serena certainly not in too much of a hurry. which underlines that Sampdoria will look upon this as a useful point. Lombardo. There's Desai to Stropper. Bonucci having to backpedal here. Mihailovic with the throw. Rossi just making sure concentration is retained by his Milan defenders in this now final minute. Ferry. Out by Costa Curta to Donadoni. Serena snapping into the tackle. Donadoni. Baresi. This is Bonucci. Stropper. Down goes Boban. That's a free kick. Bit of a rash tackle then, I think, by Vierkovod. No, it was Ferry, in fact. But it was late anyway.
That was a pretty dangerous position. We haven't seen many free kicks around the edge of the box today. I think probably this is the first one, Peter. I don't know. Stropper seems to have hold of the ball. He can hit them from a distance. Boban as well.
Boban, yeah. Of course, Albertini is off the field. Another man who does specialise in long-range shooting. They'll be hoping to do better than Mihailovic did from that kind of range in the first half. 2 horror free kicks from him. Deep into injury time. Zenga still with a little bit of organising to do. As Sampdoria look to hold out for this point now, for which they have worked extremely hard today. Boban is over the ball, so is Simone. The referee ushering that wall back. Simone! Well, it beat the wall. It beat Zenga, but over the bar.
Yeah, great strike by Simone. Just a foot too high.
And maybe now the final chance for Milan in this game. It certainly is. There's the final whistle to signal a very disappointing match. No two ways about that. Milan 0, Sampdoria 0. Massaro hitting the post in the first half. Otherwise, really only a handful of chances created by either team. It was rather untidy. Milan with a lion's share of possession, but they really, Liam, didn't put it to too much effect today.
No, we said prior to the game that they were having a bit of a bad spell, and you can see that they're not confident. They're hesitant when they get the ball. People are holding onto the ball too long. There's no fluency to the play. There's no width. You have to get somebody out wide to get around the back of people if you're going to give Hullet and give the likes of Massaro chances. But Sampdoria will feel well pleased with their day's work, because they've had a very good win during the week on Thursday in the European Cup Winners' Cup, a 3-0 home win, and they've come to San Siro and they've kept a clean sheet and come away with a point. So they'll go away happy.
Well, the Milan fans disappearing from the ground, certainly in disenchanted mood. Let's look back on some of the highlights. There weren't too many, I'm afraid, but this was certainly one. This was Massaro's header from the Albertini cross.
Well, this is a real pity that Massaro didn't actually get this in. It was a great header, and I think this could have opened the game up. And Sampdoria set their stall out just to come for a point. And I think if Milan had scored here, this opportunity, we would have seen a better game all round. Sampdoria would have had to come out. But Massaro, different class again across the front of people, very brave, and he was extremely unlucky with that header.
And this was a rare chance for Sampdoria. Vierkovart with a shot. Don't think it would have gone in, but Rossi certainly couldn't take any chances anyway. May have just took a nick there off Lombardo too.
Yeah, a very good shot from Verkwood. Been outstanding again today, Verkwood. Good shot from distance and good save from Rossi.
It's Mancini's efforts.
Well, I think this epitomises the game, doesn't it, Peter, when we're seeing these things shown as highlights. Mancini had time and space there, got it down well, but wasn't really much in his shot.
Well, it was one of the few occasions that Milan got round the back, got in the cross. It was Stropper that time, and it certainly had Walter Zenga struggling.
Yeah, disastrous. Well, it wasn't a disastrous mistake by Zenga, but it could have been. He was very, very silly to come for that one. And this, of course, is Simone's final effort in the last minute. That was just a foot too high. Good strike. Probably Zenga had it covered anyway.
So into the scores, latest scores and final scores as we have them from Serie A this afternoon. Cremonese have been beaten at home by Juventus. Pedroni on 80 minutes for Cremonese after Juventus had taken a 2-goal lead there through Gianluca Vialli on 39 and Roberto Baggio just before half-time. Cremonese 1, Juventus 2. Fiorentina beaten Padova by 4-1, and that after Belleri had given Padova the lead. Di Mauro, Rui Costa, Carbone and Battistuta with a penalty there. Fiorentina 4, Padova 1. Foggia 0, Inter 0. Genoa have been beaten at home by Lazio. 2-1 the final score there. Marco Lin with a penalty for Genoa. Lazio's goals from Negro and 2 minutes from time from that man Beppe Signori. Genoa 1, Lazio 2. Napoli 2, Bari 0. Agostini with both the goals there, 43 and 75 minutes, the times of the goals. Parma have turned it round against Reggiana then. They've beaten them by 2-1. Dino Baggio and Branco with the goals. Branco's was a penalty, 12 minutes of time after Paolo Futre had given Reggiana the lead. Torino 2, Brescia 0. Both goals there from Pelé. 58 minutes and 74. Torino 2, Brescia 0. And of course tonight it's Roma against Cagliari, the match you can see on Mezzanotte on Tuesday. Top of the table, Parma on 16, followed by Lazio, Roma and Juventus, all on 14. Fiorentina and Foggia both on 12. Then comes Sampdoria and Milan after their goalless draw today. Battistuta out on his own there, 8 goals for Fiorentina, including his 1 strike today, 6 from Balbo and Signori. And Branca has 4 for Parma this season. So there we are, that's the way of it in Serie A now, as I hand you back to Joe Jordan with James Richardson. James?
Well, rapidly emptying here, rapidly emptying San Siro. Joe Jordan still with us, thankfully. Some fun there for fans of good defensive work, but very little else to enjoy.
Yeah, I think you've got to admire Sampdoria. I think they defended well and came for a point and got it. But looking at the home team, Milan, I think we've seen today what has been their season so far is a lot of possession, not enough pressure, and certainly not enough chances. And you've got to feel a little bit sorry for their supporters and also for their 2 front guys. They really didn't have any chances at all today. And really, you've got to look at it and say where are they going to get their inspiration from. And it maybe have to be the transfer market. I think that, as Liam's stated during the 90 minutes here, that there is the market opening shortly, and it may have to be where Mr. Berlusconi goes in and gives the team a lift from the transfers market.
It's been noticeable though that this year, with Berlusconi now running the country here in Italy, of course, he's under pressure obviously to not make the kind of extravagant gestures for which he was known before.
Well, maybe that's so. Maybe that's why, if we look at the start of the season, the only player that has come in is Hullet, and it came for a relatively small sum in comparison to what the money has been spent in the past. So I suppose if you're looking at it from the political side, you'll need to be careful. But certainly looking at it today from the green turf down there, he needs a lift. His team needs a lift. And from what we've seen today, it's not there. The balance isn't right. The cohesion isn't right. And it's got to the point where the confidence has been drained a little bit, even to the great teams. And Milan are a great team, but they're not certainly showing it just now, and they need a lift.
Okay, well, it is, of course, early days still, and Peter was saying during the game that we can't, of course, rule out any team for the title as yet, although Padova are an obvious candidate. But neither of these two sides, Milan or Samp, seem in any way destined for the title this year.
Well, what we have, as against the previous years, as we know Milan have won the championship in the last 3 years, it's definitely open this season. This championship last year, by Christmas, it was all over, where Milan had just shot away in front and left everybody in their wake. Now I think we look at, and even Sampdoria, although they didn't play particularly well going as a force trying to win the game, they're a team that have a possibility of getting the championship. You've got Roma, you've got Lazio. It's the most open championship we've had for many years, and that really is down to the performance of Milan. They aren't what they were, and there's a number of points for that. But I think when you look at Milan and you look at them defensively as they were last year, they were exceptional. I think it's got to the stage now where there's been too much asked of that defence, and they're living on the edge.
Well, they're missing plenty of their players as well. I mean, we've got Sassotti out, we've got Maldini with a broken nose this week.
Yes, the players are out, but I think even if those two players come in and you've got your defensive back four at full strength, I think when you're on the edge as they are, when they know that if they make one mistake and a goal is conceded, they've lost the game. Because as we've seen today, Milan don't look as if they're going to score goals. They don't actually look as if they're going to make many chances. So if that mistake is made at the back, it can cost them the 3 points. So really they've got to have something in the bank, so to speak. And at the moment, they haven't had it as they've had in previous years, where Van Bassen's been scoring goals, Papan and Massara last year. Massara we've seen today, I think he needs games, but he also needs the support, he needs the ammunition, and he certainly didn't get it today.
Okay, well, plenty of players still missing for Milan. Of course, there is Van Basten, there's Savicevic, there is Lentini as well, of course. But anyway, that's pretty much it. A disappointing afternoon for both sets of fans, I guess, really, at the San Siro. There is still one game to be played today, and that is, of course, down at the Stadio Olimpico tonight. Another chance for us, as we'll be bringing you the highlights on Tuesday night in our Mezzanotte programme, to take a look at the spectacular league leaders, Roma.
Pre-season, few experts were tipping Roma as potential champions. After 2 years of failure and 3 different coaches, it seemed they had a point. However, no one had banked on the current coach, Carlo Mazzoni, finding that rarest of commodities, 2 strikers who instinctively work together. The Uruguayan forward, Daniel Fonseca, was brought in from Napoli during the summer, and the understanding he's immediately established with his Argentinian striking partner, Avo Balbo, has produced 9 of Roma's 12 goals so far, with the promise of plenty more to come. However, while the Cagliari defence won't be looking forward to meeting that pair, the Roma defence won't be feeling very confident either. They have to meet a forward line every bit as daunting as Balbo and Fonseca. The Brazilian-born Belgian international, Luis Oliveira, has already tormented some of the best defences in Serie A, while his partner up front, the giant Panamanian Julio Deli Valdez, is more than a handful for anyone. It promises to be a battle royal between 2 sets of super strikers, so don't miss extended highlights of that match in Mezzanotte on Tuesday night.
So that's Mezzanotte on Tuesday night then, and certainly looks an interesting match. Roma's two South American stars have been doing the business so far this season, Daniel Fonseca and Abel Balbo. There are 1 or 2 other question marks over the team. Do you see them as title potential, Joe?
Oh, certainly. You've got to put them in the frame. I mean, the city of Rome as it stands at the moment, you've got Lazio and Roma. Maybe that city's got the strikers that this city hasn't got. You know, the 2 you've mentioned, Fonseca, and also in Lazio, we've got Signori. I think you've got to look at them as potential champions. And Roma have started exceptionally well, and I think when you have a city where you have 2 teams going for it and keeping each other on their toes, as this city has had in the past, where Inter won the UEFA Cup and Milan won the Championship, there we have possibility of those 2 teams neck and neck. So I think it is a situation where they could give the challenge to the Championship where they haven't done in the past. Not for many years. I mean, the last time a team from Roma was when they had Falcao and whatnot. Now they have the introduction of Fonseca, which I think he's a fantastic player, and Balbo, and their players are scoring goals and they're given the lift that is needed.
All right. Well, thanks very much for coming along today, Jay. We'll be seeing Roma on Tuesday night. And